So I came out when I was 17 years old. I was in high school. I was a junior in high school. I think coming out or the phrasing around that is a little bit misleading for a lot of folks. I usually like to say that I let people in at a certain age because I think that coming out sort of operates on the premise that I am needing to sort of abide by a certain norm or abide by a certain structure. When I came out, I first told my mom and I sort of talked to a few other folks about it, some immediate friends, and that was it. I didn't tell relatives, I didn't tell a lot of other folks that I knew from my high school and that kind of thing, not because I was nervous or scared to not tell them, but because I wanted it to come up in conversation naturally with folks who I didn't think needed to know right away. There was no social media post, there was no coming out day, or there wasn't a cake. It was actually pretty nonchalant.
I didn't expect it at all because all of my friends were either straight or bi. I knew no lesbians. I didn't really understand anything that it was even possible. There was no representation growing up at the time. Now it's like there is some, but you die at the end of the movie. But I think recently it's been really fun that I've met more people with the same identity. I've seen more representation. I've been able to build a community with lesbians, bisexuals, gays, pansexuals. It's been a really great and inclusive experience. I think that's definitely the best part about coming out, is being able to be out not only to yourself and your friends, but to be able to find that community and really bond with them about it. It's been phenomenal.
Before I came out, I was just mostly confused. I felt that I was attracted to other genders, but I didn't really understand it at the time. And I also thought it was kind of weird because I didn't have anyone in my life that was expressing those same feelings. Every person that I was hanging out with were in heterosexual relationships. So I remember feeling this way towards other genders and just being like, oh, I'm just really close friends with these people. But then later on, as I was looking back on it, I was like, no, I was very attracted to these people. Here at UF, and especially at my workplace, I know many people at my work that are just like me, and we talk about it all the time. And I've never ever felt targeted or weird at my job. We're just a loving community.
I think coming out as trans is important to come out to yourself, because the first thing that really influenced me was that I told myself that I use he, they pronouns. And when that happened, I started crying, and I was just by myself in my house. And I was able to finally feel comfortable with the thoughts in my head, finally feel comfortable with the fact that I was different from people around me. The thing that I have gotten back from old friends that I've talked to now is that they see how happy I am, and they see that I'm actually thriving now.
Kind of the textbook, like I grew up in rural Florida. My parents are pretty conservative, you know. We grew up in the church, so there was a lot of definitely conflicting emotions there. It was always kind of underlying, and I was like, I'll think about that later. Like I'll figure that out later. I'll figure that part of myself out later. And I kind of just kept putting it on the back burner and putting it on the back burner. And then I finally realized, like, I have to address this part of myself, and I'm so glad that I did. It's like, you know, never felt more myself and comfortable. Just be so kind to yourself, no matter who you are. Like, you always just got to be really kind to yourself and honest also with yourself, even if it seems like even if it is hard.
So I came out at 12. I was not proud at that point. It probably took being in college for 3 years, being in a relationship for at least a year, to be like, I am the moment. Like, I think it really took me walking through campus holding hands with my partner to like to actually be the fantasy. Like, it took that to feel the fantasy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was probably 21 when I was first time like pridefully gay. I was the president of a gay club in high school, so I was like exuding pride much before that, but like, yeah, I think I had to live the fantasy to really like appreciate.
I think the beautiful thing about the queer community is that you can be whoever you want to be and use any label that you want. So I do often still use the term lesbian to describe myself, but ultimately my identity that I feel the most home is the label queer, because attraction and love and anything else goes far beyond just a word. And queer is kind of a multifaceted word that can mean anything you want it to. I think that the most important thing when deciding if you're going to come out or not is to make sure that you're safe. And make sure that you have a support system around you, somebody that is going to show you love during a possibly difficult time. But also show love to yourself and feel proud that you are able to go through this. It's a very hard decision to make to come out, so be proud of yourself that you've made it here and that you have the courage to show the world who you are.
Just know that everything you're going through emotionally, those hurdles, that maybe that feeling of fear or guilt or just that tightness in your stomach, all of that goes away with time. And I went from someone who couldn't say gay to I'm strutting high heels, you know, dressing up, having fun. And it's just such a beautiful story. And I don't think I would have seen what an out life has when I was in the closet. I didn't see that life could be that beautiful, like life could be that exciting.